Good evening. Welcome to the Tuesday, February 4th, 2020 school committee meeting. As always, these meetings are audio and video recorded. We call this meeting to order. Staff introductions to my left.
Sharon Fairbanks.
Rob Mullen.
Mark Moran.
Good evening, Mark Branco, Assistant Superintendent.
Hi, Mike Flanagan, Superintendent.
Ryan McMahon.
Anthony Tenerell.
Paul Mitchell.
Becky Stanton.
Joe Messina, School Business Administrator.
Kenneth Moore, Student Representative.
If you'll rise to the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. I will seek a motion for the approval of meeting minutes for January 7th, 2020, executive session minutes, January 21st, 2020, capital asset subcommittee minutes, January 21st, 2020, school committee minutes, and January 27th, 2020, negotiations subcommittee minutes.
I'll make that motion with the caveat that the the executive session minutes will not be released.
I will second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 700. Correspondence?
None tonight, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Visitors, comments, and questions? None? Share the success. KJ?
Hi. So to start off, with the middle school, TMS's Beauty and the Beast play was wrapped up on Sunday after successful showing of the play throughout this past weekend. Additionally, 8th grade students were challenged with a 100 Days project, where students in groups of 4 create something such as a shirt or collage to represent 100 of any object, be it 100 athletes or anything of this sort. Also, the Officer Kind project is restarting. This is a project that allows students to write cards when they see another student perform a good deed. And then for doing good deeds and getting a card written about you, you're entered in a raffle to win small prizes. And then for tomorrow, February 5th, students will perform in the annual winter band concert in the THS auditorium. As for THS, students of the month, for the month of February were announced. They were Jackson Lundberg, Casey Alvarez, Ashley Gibson, and Alex Messina. On January 31st and February 1st, members of the THS robotics team, Wilson, Angelos, Jeremy, Eddie, and Jess, attended the 2020 Ball workshop, where they learned about this year's rules and regulations for the tournament itself. The newly introduced THS esports team won a preseason match today against Northbridge. Students in Mr. Richall's service learning class successfully hosted their Purple Night on January 31st during the boys basketball game in order to raise money for the Durkin Foundation. And finally, THS's Student Council is planning a fundraiser during Valentine's Day week in which candygrams will be sold to encourage kindness between students.
Excellent, thank you. Subcommittee updates. We had the superintendent's evaluation subcommittee meeting just before this. Everything's going good. I believe we'll have probably one more before we do the actual evaluation. You're doing a good job, Mike. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Negotiation subcommittee. We've begun negotiations with the admin assistants and the custodians and maintenance staff. Had initial meetings with each union, and they're underway. Personnel, none at this time. Unfinished business. School building committee update. Tony?
Yes, MSBA will vote on February 13th to accept us into the program, hopefully. So right now it's been kind of quiet waiting for this process to happen, but once we do get accepted into the program, then the fun will start. We will set up a meeting once that happens for the whole school building committee, and we'll start that up again. So, so wish us all luck for that.
Excellent. Thank you. The 2020-2021 academic calendar. I will seek a motion to approve the 2020-2021 academic calendar as presented, and to have the superintendent sign a 1-year MOA with the TTA to accommodate the state primary election.
So if I could just remind everyone, typically we go to school Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. before Labor Day, given that September 1st is the state primary day. We've had preliminary contract with the TTA, and it would not be a problem to move the first day of school to a Wednesday. So that's why we'll be moving it so that the first day of school for kids doesn't coincide with an election at the school. That would not be good.
Make a motion to accept the calendar as presented at the last meeting.
I will second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 7-0. FY21 budget update on revenues.
So, Mr. Chair, as you know, we left the last meeting hoping that we'd have some more information for you regarding the budget. We don't have any slides presented tonight. The only thing that has come out so far has been the governor's preliminary budget regarding Chapter 70 funding. That budget shows an increase of approximately $50,000 for Chapter 70. Our foundation enrollment has gone up by 43 students, so we're hoping for a larger bump in Chapter 70. But given how the Student Opportunity Act is new this year, I don't think any of us really have a full handle on how it's going to play out across the Commonwealth. As you know, the other thing that we need to keep our eye on in terms of revenue is circuit breaker reimbursement and circuit breaker special education transportation reimbursement as part of the SOA. Circuit breaker has not been funded to the full 75%, Mr. Messina, in years.
I think they hit it once.
Once.
Since the inception, it historically started in the high 50%, even though by statute it should be 75%. Right now, they call 72% hitting it in their terms.
So I guess the concern that we have as we go forward is if it's been at 72%, that's one thing. But if they're going to do special education transportation reimbursement at 15 or 25%, and that 72% drops down to 50%, it's going to be a wash for us. So we need to see what that reimbursement looks like as we move forward. So that's the update on revenues. I will say that our preliminary projection right now is that there could potentially be top of the line, top max, $25,000 additional revenue, potentially for pre-K tuition at the elementary school, given on where the enrollment is going to be there. If we create 2 afternoon classes there. So that's all happening right now as we speak. I don't know where the numbers are going to shake out. I don't know if parents are going to select the afternoon program, but if parents were to say we want pre-K in the afternoon, there's a potential additional revenue of about $25,000. So it's too early to say yet exactly what that hard number is going to be, but that's something that we have our eye on closely. As you know, we have our meeting with the FinCom on February 25th. We will work to a number to bring in a budget that is FTE neutral. So that's where we are in terms of budget update.
Thank you. New business.
So, Mr. Chair, I'd like to invite Dominic Simontelli to come to the table tonight. Happy to announce that we've secured a facility director for the Tyngsborough Public Schools, Mr. Dominic Simontelli. Briefly, Dominic has extensive managerial experience, extensive construction background, and we're thrilled that he's joining us and going to be part of the team. So I want to bring Dominic forward to introduce himself to you and certainly field any questions you may have. So Dominic, welcome. We're not going to put you on the hot spot though and grill you with questions here. So this is more of a welcome than anything else. Tony, buddy.
So thank you, Mr. Dr. Flanagan, for great introduction. As he said, my name is Dominic Simontelli, and I'm now the new facilities director for the schools. And I'm very happy to be here. I do bring to the table a lot of management experience, also a lot of construction experience, as well as Massachusetts license for the CSL and OSHA certified. And very happy to be here.
Yeah, so I think Dominic's going to fit in great with the team. He's done a great job. He started this past Monday. He's assimilated himself to the schools. He's familiarized himself with procedures. He's actually already been to Valley Collaborative as well and saw the operation over there and checked out that facility as well. I think on the second day here, he was on top of the elementary school roof, looking at the shingles, looking at the dormers, looking at the projects. So he's a hands-on leader, that's for sure, and we're excited to have him aboard. So I don't know if anyone has any questions.
Welcome.
Thank you.
I told you it was gonna be softball.
Very good. I just know that, with all the flu and viruses and things going on, that parents are probably concerned that everything is being well taken care of and cleaned up in in all the school buildings, and making sure that we're trying to minimize any issues with the viruses and things that are going on. Is that, been a focus of the custodial staff?
Yes. Days after I arrived, we had talked about that. Dr. Flanagan brought that to the forefront, and we responded with I went out and talked to all custodians on staff, all the head custodians, all the lead maintenance personnel, and we responded with by cleaning all door handles, all railings, using the germ gun. We have germ guns on the high school campus and on the elementary campus, and we also responded by buying another one so that the middle school can have their own, and that should be in within the next day or two, but we didn't. We only had two.
I think there are cases of Lysol in every teacher's room that teachers can
Lysol,
access. Lysol wipes that they can access and bring back to the classroom.
Yeah.
So,
It seems like every year it's always something that happens, and I think we need to be a little bit more proactive in November, and as that season starts to get involved, to make sure that we're on top of and doing more than being ahead of the game and sort of trying to catch up. So I'm glad that we're doing more than what's doing, because we want to keep these kids in class, right?
we do to a point.
If they're sick, they can stay home.
Yeah, if you're sick, parents should keep you home, because that's how it's getting spread throughout the school. So if your kids are showing signs of illness, please keep them home for the sake of the other 20 students and teachers in that classroom environment. So.
Yeah, and I know personally, my daughter was out for a week, and friends are out for a week. This is really bad this year.
Yeah. That's
It's in the Stanton household now too, so it's going.
It is.
So
And I think just to share, like, the doctor's office, the pediatrician's offices are asking you to keep at least our pediatrician is asking you to keep your child out of school, even if they're symptom-free, for at least a week from onset of symptoms. I'm certainly not a pediatrician, but that's what I was asked. And, if your child has the flu, please keep them out and report it to the nurse so they know how bad the outbreak is. The feedback I've received from my son is that the teachers do a great job trying to clean the surfaces, that the custodial staff does a great job trying to clean the surfaces, but we need to keep the human incubators out of the school when they have it.
So we're on it.
Yeah.
Dominic's on it.
Any questions for us?
No, not at this time.
Well, you're coming in at a great time.
Yeah.
We have a lot of big projects we're gonna hopefully get done.
Actually, so that's a great point. Dominic, we'll have to notify the MSBA to let them know Dominic will be replacing or filling that open seat
On that
on
open
our
seat,
school
yeah.
building committee as well. So,
Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Very much.
thank you.
good luck.
Have a good night.
Yes.
Capital asset plan for CAMC. I will seek a motion. Oh, you wanna speak?
So,
I-
go ahead. You go. No, you go.
You want me to go first? Okay. Well, first off, I'd like to ask about the bleachers. Those weren't on there the other night.
Right, we took all the potential high school projects off pending the MSBA.
Okay, because the sheet that we had in the package tonight had the bleachers on it for this year.
Pulling it up. So what we determined at the first capital asset meeting was we were going to table all projects that involved the high school pending the MSBA project, not knowing where it was going to be, whether it was going to be extension or whatnot. And as we found out,
Okay. So as long as we
so
don't...
as I'm looking on the drive, look at the bottom one, it's grayed out. Pull that up, please, from the drive.
Okay, so your bottom one is the...
That's the current capital asset
Current
plan.
one that we're looking, okay, sorry, thank you. Just wanted to get that updated. Okay. So right now, well, we have the fire panel on there still, though.
So if we go to,
Is that the one you want?
so if we look at this sheet, scroll down, Mark, please. The top, go up to the top, sorry. The top was last year's request. Now scroll down to the bottom, please.
Okay.
The gray area were projects that the funding was secured for this year. The fire panel already happened this year in 2020. The roof project, $200,000, been allotted for that. The three projects that we're asking for FY21 include the phone alarm system or communication system at TES, tennis court resurfacing over at TES, and phase 2 of the roof project, which, as we know, has come in much cheaper because we're looking specifically at targeting the dormers there. So those are the three projects being requested this year. In terms of the plan moving forward, the other items at the bottom of the plan are on the radar, but they're not top priorities right now. So the Capital Asset Management Committee hasn't really talked about those projects yet. You'll see in 2022, 2023, we're looking at potentially phasing in a playground project at the elementary school. As you know, we have 3 separate playgrounds at the elementary school. The life expectancy of a playground is about 10 to 15 years. Ours are on year 18. So we did get preliminary quotes for that, and all the backup is in your drive as well. So it's something that needs to be addressed at some point. Additionally on there, you'll see the request for a truck. Our green school truck is 10 years old right now. So we think another 5 years of school construction work truck, we'll probably need to replace the green one. And then also out years at TES, we'd like to look at an overall security upgrade in terms of the camera system there, really, to update that. We currently have 32 cameras, and the memory that it holds isn't all that great. We don't necessarily have Wi-Fi capacity on that, so we want to upgrade that security system at TES. So that's the comprehensive plan, but really the big three that we're talking about for this year, potentially at the capital asset, are the phone alarm system at TES, tennis court resurfacing, and roof phase 2. Capital Asset has met once. There's obviously kind of just introducing this information at the second Capital Asset meeting on February 11th. There'll be a deeper dive into this, and we'll have further conversation about it. So this is the plans we talked about. What we originally talked about, you see the grayed out area, those are all potential high school projects that were on the plan last year, but not knowing where the MSBA is going to go, and if we could potentially talk about, if it's a standalone middle school renovation or addition off this school, it makes sense to hold off and really find out what we're doing first for a project. So that's the update.
You good, Rob? Excellent. So, I will seek a motion to approve that plan as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I would just, if I could, I'd like to thank Dr. Flanagan. Originally, we were requesting $200,000 as phase 2 for the roof, to redo the entire roof. And it turns out that it's really just the 4 dormers that are the problem. So him and his staff did their due diligence. They looked at it, and we can actually repair those 4 dormers for the 244, which 200 has already been appropriated last year. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
That is it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries 700. Finance, Mr. Messina.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This evening, presented 8 bill warrants to the committee. I do have them all back approved. In your drive is the list of warrant numbers, accounts, and amounts for those. For signing of payroll, we had 2 payrolls that are listed in your drive, the payroll of January 20th and the payroll of February 3rd. Those warrant numbers, accounts, and amounts are in your drive as well. And that's it.
Thank you.
Welcome.
School committee discussion. Mrs. Remix?
Also, thank you.
All set.
I have been working on the self-evaluation for the school committee, and I put it in Google Forms and I sent it to Mark today, so we're going to talk about it and see if I did it the right way. And what's going to happen is it's going to go out to all of the school committee members, plus copies will go out to Mr. Messina, Mr. Branco, and Mr. Flanagan, so they can see what the evaluation is, but I read through it very carefully as I typed it in, and it's a great evaluation. I think it's going to be able to pinpoint any areas where we need more education, any areas where we need further development, any areas where we need training. So hopefully this week I'll get it out to all the members, and maybe in 2 weeks we can hopefully get them back, and then I can collate the results. And my goal is not to look at individual people's really their assignments, more to get trends, similar to what Mike was doing for the school when he put out an evaluation to get trends where this question, there was a lot, more than half of the school committee thought we needed development or whatever. So that's kind of the goal of it. So does anybody have any questions about that? You all got hard copies, but now we have it in forms, so it should be easier for everybody to manipulate and do. Thank you.
Good evening. I just want to say congratulations to the Tyngsborough Middle School theater department. Fantastic musical this weekend. Beauty and the Beast, packed house every night. Show was great. And KJ kind of stole my thunder with the esports team. But how cool is that? That exists in this school. So again, we just keep adding co-curricular and extracurricular programming as students request them or as interests change. And that's just another great example of us kind of staying ahead of the curve and keeping up with what's going on in the world out there. So thank you for mentioning that. But it's a pretty cool opportunity for those guys.
KJ?
I don't have anything. Thank you, though.
I'm all set. Thank you.
I don't have anything, thanks.
Friday night, the Tyngsborough Scholarship Trust has a trivia night over at the Sportsman's Club. So anybody interested, it's teams of 4 for $25 a person. Supports scholarships for our high school seniors.
I'm all set. Thank you.
So you stole my thunder.
Sorry, man.
With Beauty and the Beast.
Sorry.
We went together.
I know.
I knew you.
It was going to sound strange if I said Dr. Flanagan wins the show.
The kids did a great job with the performance. Congratulations to Sarah Martin. And what was really great to see was the number of high school kids who actually came to support the show and run the tech and support them as well. So just a great environment, great production. So really happy for them. That's it.
That's awesome. I am all set also. There is a need for executive session to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than professional competence of an individual, or to discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges brought against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. We will return from executive session only to adjourn the regular session meeting. I'm seeking a motion to go into executive session. This action requires a roll call vote.
Make that motion.
I second it.
In favor.
In favor. In favor?
In favor.
In favor.
In favor.
We're in executive session. Have a good night.